Mr. Huffines, it is great to see you again here. You've told me multiple times you want to audit government and find waste here. How much, though, do you realistically think you're going to find? What kind of dollar figure do you think we're actually looking at here in state government?
Oh, Jason, I can tell you that I think it's a lot more than most people realize. I mean, we've seen what happened in Minnesota and California and other states when the government really starts paying attention to where our money's going. I mean, as you know, I when I was in the Texas Senate, I started auditing and closed down Dallas County schools. It was a medium, small state agency, had an elected board. They were spending over 100 million a year, and 6 people went to prison. And what they were spending in 9 hours, what they spent annually, the state of Texas spends in 9 hours. We're spending way over $500 million a day, 7 days a week. There was a lot of fraud and waste in that money, unfortunately, because we just haven't paid enough attention to it. And I'm a business guy, and I'm going to bring those eyes and ears of the private sector to the government sector.
But if you had to take a shot at this and throw a number out there, any thoughts on what might be fat in the state budget?
Absolutely. We have over 200 state agencies. And I can tell you that there's going to be a lot of fat in a lot of them. So you got to look where the money's really going. And that would be education and health and human services. That's where it's about 70% of the money the
Right.
state spends. Some of it's federal money, some of it's state money. But the state of Texas really deserves a comptroller. And that's why I'm so excited about being in this position if the voters choose me, because I'm a taxpayer champion, Jason, and I'm not looking for a new job or a title. I'm not looking for a salary or a pension plan. I'm looking to represent the taxpayer, the customer, to bring that private sector mindset to the government sector. I've created a lot of businesses in my career, and I've signed the back in front of a lot of paychecks. And I'm telling you that I know bureaucracy. I've dealt with audits and I've dealt with the state agents, with the comptroller's office, and we're gonna change the culture in Austin. The customer is right, and the customer is the taxpayer, and that's what I'm focused on.
You've promised to Doge Texas and cut waste, but which state agencies would you recommend to lawmakers that might need another look and possibly closing or consolidating?
Well, I appreciate that question. It's a great question. And like I just said, it's where we're spending the most money. I think education, it needs to be looked at. It's just the scale is so huge. Look, if I can save 5% of the education dollars, that's $5 billion annually we can save, because we spend about 100 billion in education. It's the number
And
one thing.
are we
Texas,
talking? Sorry to interrupt. There, are we talking about higher education? Or are we talking about high schools and
all
elementary
education,
schools?
all the government school system. Government.
Everything.
Yes, sir. We need to look at it all. And because we spend so much money there, it could be food stamps at the SNAP program. It could be looking where are we Medicaid, Medicare fraud. But there's a lot of areas. And one thing that's a smaller agency, but it's really not that small, that I'm really want to focus on TxDOT, for instance. We all know that, like, 635 around Dallas, LBJ Freeway was supposed to be a 3-year program, 4-year max. It was a design build program. 9 years into this highway construction around Dallas, as an example, it still isn't finished. I mean, I don't know how I've built hundreds of miles of roads in my career, and I'm telling you, I would never sign the contracts they sign. So let's just dig into these agencies and find out best practices, bring the private sector mindset to, and really turn them around and focus on what's best for the taxpayer. This is
And
our money. It belongs to us. It doesn't belong to the government.
if you open the books at TxDOT, what do you think you might find?
Well, I think I'm going to find a lot of inefficiencies. I'll tell you that. And we're going to focus on that. Why do they sign contracts where people don't work 7 days a week, 24 hours a day? I mean, why does it take so long to build the road? Are they no bid contracts? And we're just going to really dig into it and do what's best. I think TxDOT is a good example because they really underestimate the stress the traffic puts on the urban areas when we have traffic, rural areas too. But they underestimate the what happens, the effect on the driver and the time delay is one thing, but it's also just the quality of life that we all need, a better quality of life.
We've seen President Trump effectively seal the southern border since he came into office for his second term back in January of last year. Should Texas taxpayers still be spending billions of dollars down there on Operation Lone Star on the border after President Trump has sealed it?
I can tell you that I'll be investigating everything, every dollar the state of Texas spends if I can. I have over 600 state auditors. I have over 3,000 people in the comptroller's office that work there. It's a major agency. We collect all the money for the state. We manage all the money for the state. We have eyes on all the spending for the state. I tell the legislature how much they can do. And what we're spending on the border needs to be investigated, just like everything else we spend money on. This is our money. We need to make sure we're getting the right results. Ask the proper questions. Why do you exist? What's your purpose? What are you accomplishing your mission for the taxpayer? Is the taxpayer getting a good deal with what you're doing with the dollar we're spending? As a businessman, I know that every dollar we save is a dollar we've earned. And hopefully we can convince the legislature to turn that into property tax relief.
I'll ask you about property tax relief in a minute. A couple other quick questions, though. There's a lot of talk about the economy right now, especially going into the holiday weekend here. Suspending the gas tax has been something a number of Republicans said that the state must do. What would happen if the state did that, and can the governor unilaterally do it?
To toll the gas tax?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, look, it brings in about $3 billion a year, which is a lot. It's 20 cents a gallon, which helps a bunch. We could look at that. We certainly can, and the state should do that, look at it. But the state needs a lot of money for the highways too. Let me tell you, I'm tired of traffic like everybody else is, and that money goes directly to the highway department to make sure we stay ahead of the demand curve and the inflation curve, and we're not doing a very good job of that. So I'm opening to look at that.
Let's talk about property tax bills keep rising. I'm in the middle of fighting mine right now. You and the governor have talked about cutting property taxes again. Here's what a lot of people are asking. Why can't Republicans get a handle on this and deliver lasting relief when it comes to property taxes?
Well, it will be the number one issue the legislature is going to work on this session. And I think there's a lot of competing ideas of how to rein in property tax to give relief. There's some, the lieutenant governor's got his ideas. The governor's got his ideas. I've got my ideas. As you know, I've been a champion for property tax relief for a long time, many years, decades. I really led the charge on property tax relief when I was in the legislature. And I'm also, when I was in the Texas Senate, I'm the one that filed a bill, by the way, to eliminate the franchise tax, the business tax, over a time frame to put it on a glide path to zero. So I am a taxpayer champion for everyone, and I'm absolutely a fighter to get property tax relief. And I think we're going to do that. I've been a big believer, and of course, this is a legislative issue, and I don't create legislation. I manage the money. I'm the chief financial officer. But I do have an opinion, and I think we should compress the rate for everybody.
You've seen this, and you pay property taxes like the rest of us, though. But at the end of the day, Republicans have made this a priority session after session, but haven't been able to really deliver lasting relief to Texans. I mean, property taxes continue to go up for everyone under 65.
Well, I tell you, it's the spending, Jason. We have to eliminate the spending. Texas has a lot of revenue. A lot of the districts have revenue, cities, counties, et cetera. And we don't have a revenue problem. We have a spending problem. And that's what I'm going to focus on as comptroller. I'm turning half, like I said, all these auditors loose to audit government, make sure we're spending our money correctly. And that's going to be the first stage we got to do. You'll see the property tax rates come down, but spending by the government still goes up. And so that's what we need to focus on also.
You're a big school choice advocate. School vouchers just been awarded to 96,000 kids across the state. You promised to audit government. Is this one place that you would take a look at, the school voucher program? And if so, what do you think you might find in this early days here?
Well, I'm very excited about the education freedom accounts, the school choice program. Everybody in Austin wants the government school system to be the best it can possibly be. And the thing that's most exciting and the thing that people should really be thinking about Texans is how many families signed up for this program. 274,000 Texans signed up for this with minimal marketing, very minimal marketing. As I would say that less than 1 out of 10 of the students attending government schools with their parents even knew about it. Imagine how many are going to sign up with a robust marketing program. I mean, it just shows how thirsty Texans are for great education or to get out of the government school system because it's not failing, it's failed. Let's be real, it's failed. And the best solution is competition. Competition, I'm a free market person, I'm a business guy, lowers the price and increases the quality of everything. And it's going to do that with the government school system. And I think this is just the beginning of what we're going to see in making our government schools the best they can possibly be. Everyone deserves education freedom.
But but these education freedom accounts, these vouchers are still state spending, though, right?
You say it again.
Yeah, these school vouchers are still state spending. I mean, it's a line item in the budget.
Yes, it is. Yeah, yes, it is. And the legislature is going to determine how much they want to allocate going forward to the program, of course. And as a state comptroller, I'm in charge of setting the rules and regulations for the program and overseeing the marketing and everything else. And by the way, I have to present a budget to the legislature as if everyone on the waiting list was fully funded. They certainly don't have to fund it all. That's always up to them of what they want to spend. But I think going forward, they'll be spending more money on the program.
Last thing I here I want to ask you about is your Democratic opponent, Sarah Eckhart. We had her on the program last week. You guys aren't on the ballot together until November here, but what is the biggest difference between you two? I mean, she says that she wants to be an independent, aggressive watchdog for the taxpayer. You're talking about the same thing with doging government. I mean, where do you guys really differ?
Well, just look at my record. When we both have a record, we're both in the Texas Senate, and I can tell you, I have a record to cut taxes. I have a long history of being a taxpayer champion. She is the left of the left, and she is the most liberal Democrat in Austin by all the rankings. As a matter of fact, she has like over 40 or 50 votes, where she's the only Democrat that voted for the legislation. She even voted to make sure we taught communism and our government school system, the benefits of communism in our government school system. The only person in Austin that voted for that legislation. There's a lot of Democrats that won't even vote for her because she is left of the left. And she's never seen a tax they didn't like. They've never seen government small. They don't want small government. They just want bigger government. They want to take more of your money. And that's what she's about. And they'll never have enough of our money.
But if she's in this, the same position you're running for here, I mean, this isn't really a political activist position. This is just, balancing the checkbook and making sure all the money is spent wisely, isn't it?
Well, it's a little more than that. It really is. This is about really rooting out fraud, waste, and abuse. And if you think the government doesn't have enough money, and this is about the comptroller's in a position to make sure they bring in as much money as possible, and that's really what she's about. I'm for the taxpayer. I don't think she is. I really don't. And look, there's a lot of fraud out there. We talked about this. A lot of places I went around Austin. I've been on the campaign trail for a long time, as you know. I did hundreds of events. People come to me with a file or a folder when I get out of the car, and they say, Huffines, you got to help us in this county. You got to investigate the county commissioners. You got to investigate the school district. You got to investigate the city council. Here's all the files, the dossier. Here's what's happening. So people say, Huffines, what are you going to do? Well, the first thing I'm going to do is just start looking into all these allegations about fraud and about corruption in the local government, because I take the position, Jason, as I've told you before, if any government's using state revenue, I have a fiduciary responsibility to investigate it. I'm the chief financial officer. If I don't do it, who is going to do it?
Yeah.
And that's what they coming to me about.
And just to be clear, though, I mean, you said earlier, and I believe I want to make sure I understand it, though, you would also take a close look and audit state government as well, not just local governments, right? Did I understand that right?
Of course.
Okay,
But that's
gotcha.
that's primarily what I'll be looking at
Sure.
is state government, the state agencies. Yes.
Senator, it's always good to see you. Thank you for the time.
Oh, thank you very much. Always good to be on. Call me anytime.